Hello and welcome back to the Dugout podcast. I'm your host, Alexander Cruikshanks, and this is episode number 35. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Ethan Barlow. Ethan, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. Good week of football. Like some exciting ties in the Champions League as well, and some good European progress being made. How's
Yeah,
yourself?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Just getting along with uni and that, as you know. But aye, exciting week of football, especially for the Scottish sides in Europe. And we'll just kick off from there. Aston Villa versus Celtic. Celtic had already secured their top 24 position in the Champions League, which means they progressed to the playoff round. But this game, a lot of people were looking forward to it. Villa still had something to play for in terms of a top eight slot. And the way they started, it looked like they had something to play for.
Yeah, definitely. They didn't mess about. They were fast out the tracks. Celtic certainly weren't. But I thought it was two really good goals from Villa. Two well worked goals, helped by Celtic, of course. But the first one's a really good move. They drag Celtic out, drag Alistair Johnson out of position, and then they exploit the space he's left and behind them. And then Ramsey, I think it is, slides it into Rodgers, who isn't going to miss from there. And then from there, it's a terrible start from Celtic. And then you just try to steady the ship maybe after that. Kasper Schmeichel has a long kick clearance, which finds an Aston Villa player. They play it into, I think it was Bogard, the right back, who played it into Watkins, who played it to Rodgers. Celtic just sitting off too much. Rodgers turns, gets a shot away, deflects off Scales and into the top corner. Two goals in 2 minutes for Morgan Rodgers, his first Champions League goals. And when Celtic were behind 2-0 after 5 minutes, I thought it might have been 5-0 or even more, like you said in the preview.
Yeah, I thought my prediction was maybe coming up, but yeah, the rest of the first half was much of the same. I would say, except from the moment where Matty Cash, who was terrorising Celtic's left hand side, had to come off injured. John McGinn came on, and Bogard moved to right back, and I think Bogard really struggled at right back for the rest of the game, and for it took him a while to adjust John McGinn because I think he really struggled. He looked like a passenger for much of it. Eventually came into it and played a crucial role in one of the goals. But yeah, and Celtic fought back. They started playing their stuff. A really, really good first goal for Celtic from Adamida breaking his dot. And this was a fantastic finish. The cross in from Taylor, I think it was, to a deflection, and it's like almost like past his hip, and he adjusts himself and puts it away for 2-1. And it was a really fantastic finish from Adamida. Great goal. I think the second goal was even better, beautifully worked through the Villa defence, or sort of the right hand side edge of the box, played across, and Adamida finishes it well into the roof of the net. And Ethan, going into that game at 2-2, um, you'd grown into it, and going into half time. What were your thoughts? Were you thinking you could get something from this?
Yeah, I thought half time sort of came at the wrong time for Celtic. Half an hour in, as you said, the first half an hour was sort of Villa dominated. I think Rayo Hitati had that chance where Aston Villa sort of missed it. I think it was Digne who gave the ball away, and Hitati didn't really capitalise on the chances. He hit it straight at Martinez. But yeah, as you said, when Matty Cash went off for that injury and John McGinn came on for the first time coming back from his injury. He obviously had to work himself into the game a bit, but Celtic weren't giving himself that time. Maybe a wee bit of agent John McGinn, obviously a well-known Celtic fan. But yeah, as you said, it was a decent ball. It was well worked to get Taylor some space, decent ball in. McGinn obviously slides to block it. Nearly does enough, but Ida adjusts brilliantly, as you said. Took the goal really well, the first one. And as you said, for the second one as well, a really well worked goal. Engels a brilliant flick, and then Hatate picks Ida out. And the second one's not an easy finish either because he's got to lift it over Martinez while keeping
Yeah,
it under the bar. So two goals that you wouldn't expect for someone that hadn't scored in 14 games. So I was joking about on the last episode on whether he would score first or Aberdeen would win first. I think we found the verdict of that.
yeah,
Really well
definitely.
taken goals, and Celtic probably deserved to go in at the break level. But yeah, I wasn't too optimistic about us holding on because, as we all know, Villa are a great team. That's why they've ultimately finished in the top 8 of the Champions League. They're a top side, and they dominated Celtic in the second half. If we're being honest about it, Celtic couldn't really get out, couldn't really create much, and Aston Villa were not ruthless in front of goal. They were anything but yeah, they were frightening, and they probably should have won by more in the end.
Yeah, Ollie Watkins grabbed the third. He also had a bit of a moment in the match. Austin Trusty giving away a penalty, and Watkins' foot actually slips in front of the ball, and he hits it off his left foot and skies it. And to add insult to injury, Celtic were awarded the free kick because he obviously touched the ball with both his feet. So that was a bit of a funny moment for Ollie Watkins, but he got his goal. And towards the end, a bit of a disaster for young Dane Murray. It's one he'll want to forget quickly, but I'm sure, it won't really have any bearing on the rest of his career. But yeah, really poor from him, unfortunately. And Morgan Rogers put it away for his hat trick. I think he's the second youngest player to score a Champions League hat trick. I've just pulled that stat off the top of my head. It might be completely wrong, but I think I remember reading it somewhere. So really good for him. But yeah, pretty much agree with what you said about Aston Villa's dominance in the second half. I think Celtic had opportunities, they just couldn't get out. Yang was absolutely terrible, shocking, and having Jota in there, I well, it feels kind of funny, but saying this, but having Jota in there as a backup now, I think I'm not saying he is a backup, but you know what I'm trying to say. To have him in Maeda as options is really good. So, and although he had a couple of moments, Casper Schmeichel, I think he was, he passed it away, but then he made a fantastic save. He was one of the reasons that the Villa didn't score even more.
Yeah, definitely. I thought he had a brilliant game, Schmeichel. He gave the ball away kind of for the goal, the second goal, but it was well up the pitch, and Celtic probably still could have dealt with it before then. There was that pass to McGregor, which was a simple
Yeah.
pass that he made a mess of, but he made
I
amends.
think it's a silly one to give it to McGregor in that position as well, though. If you look
Yeah,
up, just get it to him. Maybe the second goal was playing on his mind a little bit, but
yeah,
when in that scenario, if you look around, Villa players were at the back of every single Celtic player available for a short pass, and I know that's a philosophy that people are trying to instill, and lots of goalkeepers play out from the back. But there's just scenarios where I think you need common sense. And he did make a fantastic save to make up for it, but he's lucky he didn't pay the price because poor decision making and a poor pass.
yeah. Definitely. I think Celtic were guilty of shooting themselves in the foot a few times. I think obviously Aston Villa had most of the ball and most of the play in the second half, but Celtic certainly didn't help themselves with certain scenarios. The third goal, especially, Liam Scales is trying to press Morgan Rogers on the halfway line. He gets
Yeah,
turned. John McGinn uses that big backside of his that the Scotland fans know all too well to muscle off Engels. And then Aston Villa have got a 2v1 against Trusty. Um, and they were always going to score from there. And Trusty found himself isolated quite a lot against Watkins, and he done well. I thought for most part, he obviously gives away the penalty, which I think is soft, but I think once it's given, it's not going to be overturned. And
I don't know, Ethan. I'd probably disagree with you on Austin Trusty. I think every week we're seeing Every passing game, we're seeing holes in his game, and he's becoming a bit of a liability, I think. Um, at the weekend as well there. I think that was quite poor. Also, I just think he struggles with guys who are always on top of him. He struggles under pressure. I think I've referenced this a few times, but Simon Murray gave him absolute hell. Watkins gave him hell. He did do well in certain moments, but I don't know. I feel like the reason Watkins was on him is because they've targeted him. And see, when they're choosing between you, you see you were a centre back, and they're choosing which guy to press between you and Liam Scales, and they choose you. I think you're in trouble. So, um, yeah, I think Trusty, he's got qualities, but when he's not playing in a side that are ball dominant in the game, I think he struggles. Or he's playing against a guy who will just be on him the whole game. I think he struggles also. But I'm not saying he's a totally bad player, but there are elements that are becoming liabilities for Celtic.
Yeah, I think you could I definitely hear your case, but I think he dealt with Watkins enough. Watkins obviously got the better of him on a few occasions, the penalty especially, and Watkins probably should have scored a hat trick, maybe even. But I think Trusty, you go back to games like Atalanta away where he was man of the match and he was absolutely brilliant. I think he has shown that he has got a top performance in him, but he has also shown that he's sort of got
A
a
clanger.
blunder in him. Yeah, a clanger or a blunder in him. But yeah, I think both sort of left-sided centre back Scales included have both shown that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Celtic helped
So,
herself. And I was just going to say with the last goal, with Dane Murray, I think, yeah, it was just a bit of a howler. He kind of, and it was a few strange substitutions from Brendan Rodgers, bringing on Murray instead of Navrosky, and then bringing on Daniel Cummins instead of Johnny Kenny. I thought was strange as well.
Johnny Kenny in the squad.
Yeah, Johnny Kenny's in the squad. I know he won't be. Johnny Kenny won't be in the squad, will he?
Yeah, no, he won't because he
No,
was on
no, he won't
loan.
be. Yeah, yeah. I was wondering why he brought Cummins on because I remember I heard someone referring to that. But yeah, I forgot that Kenny
Yeah.
wouldn't have been in the
So
squad.
the
So
take,
as you
sorry, the
imagine
overall
it.
takeaway from this game is it was an exciting game. I really enjoyed watching it. Fantastic game of football. Celtic, they didn't need to win, but they put up a good fight, and they shown they can sort of hang with, Europe's elite. Villa secure top eight, and we'll be looking forward to the next round. We'll be talking about that next week.
Yeah,
Celtic versus Bayern Munich,
yeah,
which could be very interesting. A historic day if Celtic managed to pull something off, but I don't think it's likely, unfortunately.
yeah.
Right,
No, that'll be difficult, definitely.
yeah, but their other option was maybe even worse, so you don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Strangely enough, I think I told you this stat earlier. The home team Aston Villa finished eighth seed in the Champions League. Celtic finished 21st seed in the Champions League, and then going on to this game we're about to talk about, the home team finished eighth seed, and the away team finished 21st seed as well.
yeah, moving
Strange
on.
coincidence that.
Yeah, coincidence. But moving on, speaking of the eighth seed team, Rangers beat Union Saint Gilloise 2-1 at Ibrox and pulled off an absolute miracle. Every single result fell in their favour. If you saw on our Twitter, Ethan did a big breakdown about everything that would need to go Rangers' way. And I think it was a 9 or 10% chance that Rangers would
Yeah,
be top eight. And yeah, every single result went Rangers' way, and they did it. We'll talk about that quickly before we jump into the game. But Ethan, I couldn't quite believe it.
no, no, no. I don't know. I had when I was sort of going through it, I thought it was interesting to see how the kind of stipulations that Rangers needed to get through. And looking at it, I had a weird feeling that they might do it. I don't know why. I just sort of had a wee, even though the odds were obviously stacked against them, I had a weird feeling that they might do it, and they did. The Rangers done what they needed to do. The two teams that they needed to lose, two of them lost. Anderlecht lost just about. I think they were
Yeah,
5-1 down at one point, but a goal got ruled out, and then they brought it back to 4-3. But they lost, and FCSB lost to Man United, which allowed Rangers to get a decent chance. Then Galatasaray lost to Ajax. Bodo Glimt drew away at Nice, and Victoria Pilsen lost at Atletico Bilbao, which all helped Rangers sneak in at 8th place. And Rangers done enough on the night, and yeah, Rangers
yeah,
were well
fantastic.
worthy in the end, probably.
Yeah, fantastic from Rangers. I think that just we say this every year. It seems, but the European competition, the Europa League, just seems to be where Rangers thrive, and you know everything kind of falls their way. For once, doesn't happen a lot. I think Rangers fans feel, but it did on the night, and I was at the game. I think I told you, Ethan. I don't think I've checked my phone and been interested in other football matches so much than more than the game I was actually watching. And everyone around me were checking their phones. We were giving each other updates, and then when Anderlecht scored, it was the 88th minute to make it 4-3, and we were all really like nervous. Well, oh my god, they're going to score an equaliser. We're getting dumped out here, but
Yeah,
we didn't. And you know, on the night, Rangers were decent. I think they rode their luck at times. Sanjoa with a lot of chances. They had a goal ruled out for offside from Ivanovic, who booted the Rangers corner flag into the stands. A bit of justice getting done there, I think, from a bit of a disrespectful celebration. Um,
he had a bit
Rangers,
of a terrible game in general. Ivanovic, just watching the highlights.
yeah, he had
I
that
never,
one. He had that
I
one where
never,
he
oh,
should have just pulled the trigger and he dunked it over the bar.
yeah, that's the one that comes to mind. But I didn't get the chance to watch the game because I was at work. But watching the highlights, yeah, he looked pretty like he didn't have the best of nights. And Rangers, I was just going to say, Rangers were just sitting in net from looking at all the games and the results that needed to go Rangers' way. It seemed like Rangers were sitting in ninth place almost all of the night, and it looked as if maybe they were just going to miss out. But with about 10 minutes to go, I think it was Nice who equalised against Bodo Glimt to sort of pull it in Rangers' favour. But yeah,
Yeah, really, really, yeah, lucky. Rangers opened the scoring through Nico Raskin through another set piece. I don't know what's happened in recent weeks. He couldn't score from a corner to save our lives, and now we're pulling off set piece routines every single week. It's mental. So yeah, Rangers take the lead. A really really good header from Nico Raskin. If he gets that, um, like a foot either way, keeper saving it or it's going wide. It's a really, really good header from him. Great pick out from Tav again, just sort of quietly continuing his comeback, influencing games as he does. And Rangers, they had a few chances. Sanjo had a few chances, a couple of sitters. I think there was one about 6 yards out. The player missed just before half time. Going into the second half, Rangers took the lead. No, Rangers doubled their lead through Vasa Cherny. Cyril Dessers picking up the ball, I think, in his own half, taking it on a run, waiting, and then picks out Cherny excellently to make it 2-0. And that by that point, they seem like they're on easy street. USG start to come back into it, they're creating chances, and they eventually, I think it was around the 84th minute, get a goal back through Kevin McAllister. Can't believe the boy for Home Alone scored against us. But he made it 2-1, and it was a nervy last few minutes for Rangers, but they got the job done at the end, and it was a feel good factor in the stadium that we're progressing once again in this competition. We've come to know so well, and the Rangers fans are enjoying every second of it. It was a good header from McAllister. Dessers had a goal ruled out for offside, although on the freeze frame it looked like he might have been on, and I've still not seen the lines.
I've not seen it either.
So
Would have been your automated offside.
yeah, so
You'd imagine they get it right, but I did see one in La Liga. I think it was this season or last season where it was an absolute blunder where Lewandowski was clearly onside and the automated offside technology got it wrong.
yeah, there was a couple of weird offsides in the SPFL this weekend as well. But yeah, Rangers into the round of 16. They'll get a rest next week and the week after for the playoffs. And they will face Bodo Glimt, FC20, Fenerbahce, or who's the other one?
Anderlecht, did
Anderlecht,
you say?
Anderlecht, yeah. So from those games, I'd say probably the one you're looking to play the most would be Bodo Glimt. Drawn with Nice because Nice are terrible. They are. They're a poor side.
No, they've not been bad in the league, Nice. They've not been bad in the league.
They've been really poor in the
I
Europa
don't know
League.
if Bodo Glimt is I think you go into Bodo Glimt, I believe, from Celtic, misfortune against them in the Conference League a few
Yeah,
seasons ago. That they have a plastic pitch. I'm
yeah,
sure it's better than Laurie's Rugby Park, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, they're all kind of similar level, and they're all kind of. I'm sure we'll get onto it in the preview and weeks to come, but they're all kind of ties that Rangers would fancy themselves. Would you say?
yeah, definitely. I think the toughest tie there, I would say, is maybe Anderlecht. Fenerbahce, obviously, there's just a sort of aura about them in their fan base. Although I don't think they're that great of a team. Right now, they're not doing so well in the Turkish league. I think they're second, but obviously Fenerbahce, Turkey, like Scotland. If you're not number one, you're not really anyone. So, um, yeah, and FC20, I don't think they should be overlooked. They've had a decent season. They drew with Man United at not Parkhead, at Old Trafford, and Rangers couldn't do that, so they shouldn't be overlooked either. Imagine we get a Lammers versus Dessers matchup,
Oh,
but
that will be an interesting one. Lammers to come back to Ibrox and score. But no, I was just going to say about Rangers in this game against Union Saint-Gilloise. I thought Rangers were really good, and they played. It was a kind of really, I don't know how you would even really well played European night from Rangers. Two really well taken goals, well worked goals. The first one, as you said, brilliant kind of short corner pick out by Tavernier out of the back post. The defending's poor from USG, but Raskin still needs to be there and take advantage, and he does. I think that's his first goal of the season, but it was a brilliant header. And Tavernier's 10th assist of the season, I believe. And then, as you said, Rangers had to weather a wee bit of the storm with USG. They had his chances, and the goal came at like a perfect time for Rangers to sort of ease off the pressure. Desser's brilliant again, and Czerny didn't have a lot to do, but he still made a good run and finished it well. And Desser's, you're just talking about Desser's, only 4 goals and 2 assists behind his tallies for last season already. So he's really on form this season.
it's so strange
Yeah,
because it just
yes,
doesn't. It doesn't feel like it, does it? But he just puts
yeah,
up the numbers.
yeah. He does. You can't deny it. That's just what he does. He just scores. Maybe not. He doesn't. He misses a lot of chances, but he hasn't been recently, and that's maybe why people like yourself and other Rangers fans have grown more fond of him in recent times. But I did just going on to the last goal. I did say to watch out for Kevin McAllister. That was a brilliant header, but I think Jack Butland should maybe do a bit better. But
Yeah,
sitting the
it's kind of
TV,
weird. It almost looks like he thinks it's going over. He's kind of
yeah,
suspended in the middle of the goal. Um, but yeah, it was a good header from McAllister. But yeah, Rangers got over the line for the top 8 of the Europa League. Fantastic achievement for both sides. Maybe a little debate for you guys in the comments section, if you're there. But but that me and Ethan have been having recently. I think Rangers would finish top 24 in the Champions League. Ethan doesn't think so.
Yeah, I don't. I think Rangers with that injury issues this season, I think they would be punished in the Champions League. But I think Rangers would come close. I think it could go either way, but I just think they would miss out just about.
Okay. I think they would either replicate Celtic's results or better them. But you can call me delusional if you want, but that's just the way. There's just something about Rangers in Europe, except from that one Champions League season. But we're going to ignore that. But
No longer the worst team in
well, yeah,
Champions League first round history anymore. So
yeah, only took them 2 extra games.
yeah, only the two.
But aye, that's it for the European roundup. On to the weekend. We'll just jump in. Where should we start? Should we start up at Dens?
Yeah,
Dundee versus
sort of,
Hearts.
yeah, the sort of maybe most entertaining game of
Uh,
maybe the most entertaining game, but very one sided game of Saturday.
Dundee nil, Hearts 6, and yeah, this was a bit shocking. Hearts obviously have been a bit inconsistent this season. Dundee's whole brand of football is inconsistency. It seems, but and Hearts just went there and they absolutely blew them away. But it was 50-50% possession, which is kind of interesting as well because a bit likened to that game. Forest obviously beat Brighton 7-0 in the Premier League with 36% possession. So,
Yeah,
it is kind of mad, and it just shows, if you take your chances, you can really score a lot of goals. So,
yeah, yeah. In the first half, it wasn't even like that uneven a game either. It was quite head to head. Wasn't really much in the game. Hearts just took the two chances well, but the second half was a complete domination
mhm,
from Hearts, and they blew Dundee away. And I think we always say Dundee are prone to this happening with the sort of football they play under Tony Docherty. If it's not their day, it's really not their day. Although it is the first time they've conceded 5 or more this season, but you don't want to be doing that more than once this season.
mhm.
Dundee in a good vein of form as well. Their first loss in 6 since the Derby loss at Dens in the league. But yeah, Hearts, as you said, or you said they are a bit inconsistent. That is fair. But I think they're starting to build consistency now, just like Hibs did. And I think they're going to fly up the table like they are. I think that's 7 unbeaten for Hearts, 3 wins in a row. And they're
Mhm.
just a point outside the top 6 now. And Kabangu looks like an absolute wonderful
Yeah,
signing
yeah. I
in
was
the
just
window.
I was just going to come
Potentially.
on to Elton Kabangu there. Well, first of all, Hearts take the lead through Shankland, then double their lead a couple of minutes later with an excellent goal from Blair Spithell. Elton Kabangu makes it 3. Musa Drama makes it 4. Elton Kabangu makes it 5. And then the man of the moment, Kenneth Vargas, makes it 6 for 6-0. But yeah, Elton Kabangu has actually, I think he scored 5 goals in 4 appearances since joining from USG, actually on loan in the January window. And he looks to be a player for Hearts, a really good signing. He looks quick, he looks a good finisher, good on the ball. So, and it looks like the answer to their goal scoring problems this season. Obviously, it's early, but it's a fantastic start, and any new signing, you'd be happy. You'd be happy if they started like that. Maybe Celtic should have looked at Kabanga instead of bringing in no one.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, someone's usually better than no one. I mean, you wonder if he could have started for USG the other night, and he might have scored.
Yeah,
Um,
well, Ivanovic has actually been quite good this season, so I think he
oh,
just had
so
an off
maybe,
night. So
yeah. Well, but he's looked really sharp, and he's been as you said, exactly what Hearts needed. Lack of goals. Shankland obviously not the same player. And Kabanga's already overtaking Shankland's tally for the season, which is ridiculous to say, but that's the truth. But Shankland, as you said, he started it off a really brilliant goal. Kabanga wins it back, a nice piece of skill, gives it to Spittle. Shankland just one touch to kill it dead, and then finishes into the corner. Dundee way too standoffish defensively, but a good finish from Shankland, and hopefully for Hart's sake and the national team's sake, maybe that gets his confidence up a bit, and he can get a good run in the team, goal scoring wise, if Hearts are got confidence on their side. And then, as you said, a really good goal from Blair Spittle, a brilliant touch and a brilliant finish.
We just know he's got that in his bag. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've been kind of waiting to see. He's showed glimpses this season. He's showed games where he's been to the level we know he can be, but I think he's consistently showing it now, and I think he'll probably be at the heart of, no pun intended, the heart of a Hearts sort of push for the European spots this season. And then Cabangu gets his first goal. Belgian Cabangu, not Congan, like I said. I might have said in the last one. Footmob seems to have mixed Hearts players' nationalities about for whatever reason.
It says he's from the DR Congo and FootMob.
Yeah, yeah. It says he's Belgian on line though. It's the same with Musa Drama. It says Musa Drama's from I can't remember. It's one of the African countries, but obviously he's actually
Gambia.
Spanish. Yeah, but obviously he's Spanish. So I don't know what that is. Obviously, it might be dual nationality and whatever. But um, Dundee for the third goal, it's kind of just a simple goal, really. A wee 1-2 with Shankland in the middle of the park, and Cabango just puts on the burners, and Robertson, who kind of was maybe at fault for the second goal, can get nowhere near to Cabango, and then he finishes through Trevor Carson's legs, who was helpless for a lot of the goals. Maybe not this next one though, as he had, as you said earlier, a clanger, I would call it, as he dropped the ball, and Musa Drama kind of walked in and just slid the ball into the net. That was for 4. Then Cabango's sharp from the corner, and it's a really, really good finish into the corner. And then, as you said, even Kenneth Vargas gets on the score sheet. His fellow substitute, Alan Forrest, set him up. And yeah, Hearts are looking like a force to be reckoned with at the moment. And you wouldn't argue against them getting into those European spots with the sort of form they're on.
No, you wouldn't. Just did a bit of research there. Both of them were born in Belgium and Spain. Kabangu, it doesn't say anything about Congo, but Musa Drama says he's Gambian Spanish. So, I think as well there's a lot of Congolese, immigrants in Belgium. I think Romelu Lukaku is actually part 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 there from the DR Congo. So yeah,
That could possibly make sense then.
yeah. So
Like,
maybe they've got it wrong. Maybe he's got Congolese parents or something like that.
Yeah, didn't want to miss nationalise them.
Yeah. So we'll just say for now they're Spanish and Belgian.
Yeah, easier. But yeah, he's been absolutely brilliant. Dundee, they've been pretty good as of late. They've obviously picked up those impressive results against Celtic and Rangers, the win against Dundee United and the Cup. But yeah, these kind of results happen with Dundee, and they'll just have to. Tony Dockett will just have to pick them up, because if they play like that at Celtic Park, could be a similar story.
So moving on to Hibs versus Aberdeen. Hibs 2, Aberdeen 0. Aberdeen's winless run continues. Triantis and Cadden with the goals. Some poor defending for the first goal, I think, for Aberdeen. not picking up Triantis, and he puts it away for 1-0. The second goal, a little bit of controversy, maybe an offside ruling in there. Is he affecting the play? Or is he really offside? It's so tight. So that was the thing that made it 2-0
What,
Aberdeen.
are you talking about Dwight Gale?
No, Nicky Cadden.
All right, no, but there's no Dwight. It's Dwight Gale that's offside. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he does touch it, but I think he's just onside. It's
right.
like very close because I seen the picture. But yeah, that one could have easily went either way, which a few of the offside decisions were like this week. But yeah, if Dwight Gale doesn't touch it, we're robbed of a Cadden combination, which I don't think we've had this season.
Yeah. So Dwight, so Nicky Cadden made it 2-0, and Aberdeen just kind of looked toothless, didn't they?
Yeah, they never really looked like scoring Aberdeen. Obviously, there was that sort of penalty shout which they had, which Don Robertson didn't give at the time. He's instructed to go to his monitor because um, the people in the VAR room think that Rocky Bashiri's handled it unfairly. I think I agree with Don Robertson. Rocky Bashiri's trying to get leverage on Aberdeen player. I don't know who it is, but it hits his arm while his arm's on the player. I don't think that should be a penalty. And I think I would back Robertson's decision there. But yeah, Aberdeen, yeah, didn't really look like scoring at all, as they haven't done recently. No goals in the last 5 league games. Um, no win in the last 14 league games. They're still in fourth place somehow because when they were on, I think we spoke last week about how Aberdeen had played everybody and not got everybody in the league and not got a win. Well, the last time Aberdeen played Hibs, following that 3-each draw, which you said was the turning point, I think many people have alluded to it being the turning point. Aberdeen had 32 points, Hibs had 9. Now Aberdeen have 35 points and Hibs have 32. So it shows the sort of shift that both these teams have had in that time. Um, but yeah, another good performance from Hibs, and they just keep on rolling. Unbeaten in 10 now for Hibs since that loss at Celtic Park. And yeah, them and Hearts are the sort of form teams out with the obvious big two. And
Really.
one thing I've just got to say is I think I've got to apologise to um, Nectarios Triantis because I put him in my worst team of the season so far. But since then, he's been absolutely brilliant. I think
Few
he's been part
players
of
have
it.
been proving you
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah, I've given
Since
him a kick up the backside. I've done it on purpose, but I think a lot of Habs fans have said that he's been sort of the heart of the revival. And I know Nicky Cadden maybe gets a lot of the sort of plaudits because he gets in with the goals, as he did a good header. His first goal involvement of 2025. But yeah, Triantis has been brilliant. And David Gray's really starting to get a tune at this team, and you can't really see anyone stopping them from maybe even going for third place at this point with the sort of run they're on.
yeah, because if you look at the teams above them, the likes of Dundee United and not Hearts, sorry, Aberdeen, they've sort of stuttered of late. Obviously, Aberdeen are on that terrible run, but Hibs. I'm getting all the teams mixed up here. Dundee United haven't been too great recently either. Obviously, they lost again, so it's presenting a real opportunity for Hibs, something that we never would have thought at the start of the season. And this SPFL season has been full of surprises. And yeah, if you're a Hibs fan, you know, you know, you'll be thanking your lucky stars that the Hibs board sort of kind of like trusted the process. And David Gray, has really turned this ship around.
Definitely. And yeah, I think you've just got to credit the Habs board. They obviously seen something which the Habs fans didn't. We on this podcast certainly didn't. And they've been absolutely brilliant. And I really can't see them not getting top six now, which is, as you said, crazy to say. when you think about the position they were in, even the last time they played Aberdeen in the league, on just the 9 points. But yeah, I think for Aberdeen, it's really worrying times. They're just they're just in a rut that's difficult to get out of. And when I think they host Dunfermline next in the Scottish Cup. That will not be an easy game. I know Dunfermline are sitting at the bottom end of the Championship, but Aberdeen are just their heads are just down. They're just low on confidence, and you wouldn't be surprised if Dunfermline turn up to Pittodrie and cause an upset.
Aye, definitely. It will be an interesting game. Right, I think we'll move on to possibly the most controversial game of the weekend: St Mirren versus St Johnstone. The Battle of the Saints ended 1-0 to the Perth Saints. And um, who was it that got what's his face?
As the defender,
Mikulich
yeah, that's the one.
got the goal. But the game itself wasn't a great one. St Mirren had a few chances, but the main talking point is the penalty that should have been for St Mirren. And for me, I don't see why on earth this was not given.
Yeah, in the sort of replay of it, it happens very fast, but it looks like he just Dre Wright just trips Elvis Bawomino up, however you say his name. I've always struggled with that name. The St Mirren right wing back.
Womono or
But
something.
yeah, that sounds a lot better. But yeah, Dan McFarlane doesn't give a penalty, and then he's not even sent to the VAR. And of course, this has led to St Mirren sort of releasing a statement about it. And yeah, they're not happy, and they have a right with this decision to not be happy, and they feel that a lot of decisions have went against them this season. And I think they're wanting something about the SFA removed from being in charge of VAR, which I don't know who else is going to be in charge of VAR. I think they've kind of decided that they don't want the SFA to be the refereeing body of this country, but I don't really know how how we're going to how they're
No,
going to negotiate that not being the case.
back high profile blunders, two separate games, four different teams, two separate referees. This one's even worse because he doesn't even, like you said, he doesn't even get sent to the screen. The last week it was just Nick Walsh um, making a really poor decision, but this week it's the ref making a poor decision, VAR not sending him to the screen to have a second look. And yeah, I don't see. So Mirren had a goal ruled out as well, I think rightly, for a really strong two-handed push. Um, I saw people. I heard from a couple of our St Mirren classmates that maybe the St Johnstone goalkeeper should have been sent off for an incident. I don't think that's the case. I think he kind of wins the ball and gets all his Sanya in the aftermath. Just a clash there. But yeah, St Mirren fans are definitely not happy, and I must say they have been on the wrong end of some poor refereeing decisions this season. And this is another one. St Johnstone, though, if we want to talk about them positively, back-to-back wins in the Premiership, 3 on the bounce if you include the Scottish Cup. And we all said they were dead and buried, gone. But the picked up 6 points, and you never know.
Yeah,
They've been playing all right.
no, they definitely have. I mean, it's not the most pleasing football and not the most beautiful football to watch. I don't think it has been St Johnstone. They try to, obviously, Valakari's tried to play that sort of expansive brand of football. I think they had 68% possession in the first half and they didn't have a shot. And then they had less percent possession in the second half. It was more even. And they obviously had a lot more shots and then they got the goal. Back to back goals in 2 weeks for the new central defender, or not the new central defender because I think he joined in the summer, Bozo Mikulich. But they've signed a lot of players, St Johnstone, maybe even the most in the Premiership, and they needed it, and they've all kind of he's bedded them in quickly, and it's working. They've got confidence on their side. they've narrowed it down to 5 points to Ross County. And I was looking at their fixtures earlier, and with the run they're on and the confidence they'll have at the moment, you can definitely see them picking up some points. I'll read it out for the viewers and the listeners. Let me see. St Johnstone. They've obviously got Hamilton at home in the Scottish Cup, and then they've got Kelly away, which have already went there and won this season. They've got Hearts at home, which Hearts have maybe turned it up a level recently. Then they've got Ross County at home, Dundee away, Aberdeen at home. So the next sort of 5 league games, you could easily see them picking up points in 4 of them, maybe barring the Hearts game. So yeah, St Johnstone are in a good place for a team that I think we all writ off, and most people in Scottish football writ off as dead and buried, as you said. But yeah, they've done well in the transfer market, and it looks like St Johnstone are gonna push those teams to the end, and it's a lot of teams because, as we've always spoke about, the sort of 11th to the lower half of the top 6 is so tightly congested that it could be anyone that sort of gets dragged in there. It could even be my wild card shout for relegation, Motherwell, but I think they'll turn it around. But they're obviously managerless at the moment. But yeah, for St Mirren, just unfortunate that decisions keep going against them. That's 5 losses in the last 6 games. They're down to 8th place. But as we keep saying, they've still got a great chance at top 6.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, we'll move on to the final game of the Saturday. Kilmarnock versus Dundee United. Not really a lot to say about this game either. Wasn't a great watch, maybe the main talking point is the controversial goal that Marley Watkins scored. With the, did he infringe on Walton? Did he just outmuscle him and get there first? I think it's up for debate. I think, if it was a defender on defender, it would be fair. The defender can jump with their arms. Walton's up in the air. I think it could have gone either way. But for me, you might think it's soft, but I think this should have been ruled out.
I disagree. I think goalkeepers are overprotected, and I think Walton he doesn't do enough. I think Watkins quite fairly the ball's to be there to be won, and he goes up and headers it in. I think Walton doesn't do enough. He should be beaten. Watkins, he can use his hands. Watkins can only obviously use his head. But yeah, as you said, it wasn't the best game of football, not the best advert for Scottish football and Premier Sports. But a massive win for Kelly that can't be underestimated.
Yeah,
Their first win in 5, I think it is, and kind of pulls them away from St Johnstone, who were building up steam. They would have been just 4 points ahead of St Johnstone had they lost. For Dundee United, as we spoke about, they've come into a bit of a rut. 1 win in the last 6. Lost to Kelly, lost to Rangers, lost to Celtic, lost to Dundee in the Scottish Cup, and lost to Hearts at home. And the 1 win came away at St Mirren. In that game where St Mirren probably should have won. That Louis Moult overhead kick game. But yeah, for Dundee United, it's not looking great for them. I backed them to kind of keep third, but everything's changing very quickly in this league. They've obviously got to go to Celtic Park at the weekend. Then they've got Motherwell at home, which you would say is one of the more favourable fixtures. Then they've got Hibs, then they've got Aberdeen. So they've kind of got a mixed bag. But I think Hibs and Hearts are my favourites to chase third now, because the league's so close and they're the strongest teams with the moral boost. And they should be up there, Hearts and Hibs, challenging Aberdeen, realistically, because they are the biggest clubs in Scotland. But yeah, a massive win for Kelly.
yeah, definitely. Okay, that was a bit of a quick analysis, but there isn't, like I said, there isn't a
Yeah,
lot
there
to
isn't
say.
much.
So we'll move on to Sunday. We'll go to the first game. Motherwell 1, Celtic 3. Daisen Maeda opens the scoring with a nice header in under a minute. Motherwell equalise in 23 minutes, excuse me, through Luke Armstrong, who I kind of slated last week for not being a great signing, but he could prove us all wrong. He got the goal, and yeah,
Didn't even do the dance.
no, he didn't do the dance, raging, but
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about.
maybe saving that for putting Motherwell in front. But anyway, he grabs the goal, and yeah, Austin Trusty. I just think it's quite poor reactions from him, and he puts it on a plate for Armstrong, and it was poor defending from Celtic.
I think it's poor from both of them. I think Carter Vickers, he gets knocked off the ball, knocked off the sort of Armstrong knocks him off too easily. Trusty's clearance or whatever it was is terrible. But yeah, just a poor goal for Celtic to concede. And there wasn't much in the game. There was very little in the game for Motherwell at all.
Yeah,
Two shots in the first half,
they had a couple
20
of chances that,
possession.
that they could have done better on, but they didn't really create much at all.
Yeah, but that was the only sort of major chance that came their way shot wise, and they took it well. Armstrong took it well, and they'll be hoping that he can find a batch of goals because Stamatopoulos, I think that's how you say his name, the Australian striker looked like he was finding his feet, and then they obviously got that injury, which has kept him out. So yeah, for Motherwell, it's obviously going to be a difficult period. We spoke about Stuart Kettlewell leaving last episode when the news broke while we were recording, and yeah, I don't think the most of the Motherwell fans would have wanted him to leave, but obviously the sort of treatment he was getting and his family were getting was just not on, and a lot of Motherwell fans would probably be the first to admit that.
Yeah,
But yeah, Motherwell need to get a manager in quick because this league, as I keep saying, sound like a broken record, moves so quickly. But yeah, Celtic kind of got the job done in the end.
yeah, they took the lead 6 minutes later. Through Adam Ida, 3 goals in his last 2 games now for Celtic, finding his feet again. Early in the second half, he created an own goal that was actually ruled out for a super tight offside. I don't know how they can differentiate that. And this is one of the issues I have with the offside rule. So the offside rule was brought in to stop people from poaching and getting an advantage. But how much an advantage are you getting if you're off by your knee or your armpit? Or I
Yeah,
know it would be super difficult to navigate to change it, but surely they could get like a distance where it was you know what I mean? If it's more than
yeah,
like a size 10 foot or something. I know that sounds silly.
yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. A little bit of leeway with the attacker, a little bit of advantage with the attacker. We want to see high scoring games. But it was strange. There was one at Fir Park a few seasons ago. I think it was when Jota was first at Celtic. Well, there was one that was ruled offside, and it looked the camera angle they used for it was very sort of right. How are you telling? How are you actually going to tell me 100% that he's offside?
Yeah, I think I remember.
This this one was sort of a better camera angle, but then again, looking at it, you're still not 100% conclusive whether he is actually offside.
Yeah,
Turns out to be immaterial in the end, but
yeah.
these decisions matter and they obviously become massive talking points.
Celtic get another goal ruled out. Nicholas Kuhn ruled out offside. He has the shot that's saved, but it comes up in the air and he overhead kicks it into the Motherwell net. Nice finish from him, but unfortunately, he is clearly offside in the build up. And then in the 94th minute, many have dubbed it the return of the king. Jota gets his goal and has an emotional moment. Maeda with an excellent pass, the man of the match performance from him. I guess Jota was got the goal, but I guess that man of the match performance from Maeda was sort of going, "Oh, hold on a minute here. I've been doing this all season." So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, Jota. got his Cinderella story against Motherwell, returning to Celtic, and yeah, we saw he got a bit emotional. A bit of controversies come from that with the comments of Aidan McGeady and Chris Boyd sort of going after him, making a bit of fun of him for crying. But I think it's a bit silly to comment on that. It's been emotional. I'd imagine it's been an emotional, tough 18 months for the player. He left to go to Saudi, obviously, to secure some cash. He didn't kind of get shunned out. He struggled at Red, and he's back. Well, like he said in his interview, he's back home and he scored on his second debut for Celtic. So it will be an emotional moment for him, and maybe feel like he's home and he's comfortable again after a
Yeah,
really tough time.
yeah, of course. He played when he came on. He played with that sort of swagger and confidence that you would associate with Jota. Obviously, he knows what's, as you said. I think when we were talking about him signing in the last episode, he knows what's expected here from him. And yeah, as you said, he is going to have to be at top levels to be as a starting winger at the moment, because Kun and Maeda have been Celtic's two best players this season, arguably. But yeah, I think I was going to say we didn't actually hear the press conferences yet last week when we recorded, but I think even in the press conferences and the sort of video announcement, he doesn't look like the same sort of Jota, that the vibrant Jota that joined the first time, and maybe is down a little bit. He's obviously had a really tough time of it, as you said, in France and Saudi Arabia, and it'll take a wee while for him to sort of get his full mojo back. And be his happy, jubilant self. So yeah, I can understand where the flack comes from with the sort of Chris Boyd and Aidan McGeady comments. I think Aidan McGeady was trying to compare himself to Jota, which I'm not sure about that. I think Jota's a better player than Aidan McGeady, but um, anyway, a brilliant win for Celtic. Not the best performance in the world, but 3 points. Jota gets his goal. Maeda, as you said, man of the match, brilliant. And maybe a hot take. I think Maeda's more undroppable than Kun is at the moment. I think Dyson Maeda is the more on-form player at the moment, and he's the more crucial player to Celtic's team. I think he's got 16 goals this season, which is ridiculous considering he has played on the wing for almost all of it. And we'll see how Celtic line up when they have a full squad available. Is it going to be Jota and Kun on the wings with Maeda up front, or is it going to be Maeda on the wing and Ida up front? Obviously, Maeda can't play in the first game against Bayern Munich, which is going to be a detrimental loss to Celtic. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Brendan Rodgers sets it up going forward. We'll talk about Celtic's striker transfer issues. I think
At the end of the
at
show, yeah.
the end of the episode, yeah.
Yeah,
But a good one for Celtic.
yeah, definitely a good win for Celtic. I was just looking at the numbers there. Nicholas Kuhn's got 16 goals and 12 assists. Dyson Maeda has 16 goals and 8 assists. So, Nicholas Kuhn having a monumental season. Maeda's creeping up. So
Yeah,
I think it's,
you've got to think about the pressing Maeda does as well, though.
yeah,
I think honestly, I don't think there's many better pressers and or recoverers of a ball in football than Dyson Maeda. As ridiculous it is maybe to say. And Nicholas Kuhn's been brilliant, but he doesn't give that sort of side of the game. That's not his the type of player he is.
yeah. Nicholas Kuhn as well, he is still sort of coming back from that wee injury he had, so maybe he needs a little bit more time.
Yeah,
So moving on to Rangers, Rangers 4, Ross County 0. Fairly straightforward Sunday afternoon for Rangers. Yanis Hadji got the opening goal, pouncing on it's originally saved shot, made it 1-0. He got the second, the deflected free kick, but Hadji was impacting the play as well. He was excellent. Vaslav Cherny was excellent as well, as he always seems to be. John Suter got his goal, a nice moment for him after being out for a while. Nico Raskin wins the header, and John Souttar puts it away, scoring from another corner. Rangers. So this is I'm really enjoying this actually. We've been crying out for ages. But yeah, John Souttar's got his second, but it was ruled out for offside. Rightly so. Cyril Dessers was offside originally. And then I think this is the most monumental moment of the season. Penalty to Rangers for the first time in the league since April. Cyril Dessers fouled off the back of a corner again. And James Tavernier, I think he's only taken one penalty this season. It was in the League Cup, well, and in the League Cup final, obviously. So two penalties technically, but he hasn't lost his step. Puts it away 4-0 to Rangers, and yeah, it's nice to see penalties back at Ibrox.
Yeah, I know. It's been a strange environment without them. Yeah, I think Rangers, as you said, business. But I'll say business as usual for Rangers. Certainly Ibrox in the Premiership this season. 13 games, 12 wins, one draw. You can't really turn your nose up at that. And yeah, as you said, Yanis Adji started the game well. He was sharp for the first goal. I think Amasa can maybe do better with his save, although Tierney puts it low, so it's a difficult one. But Hadji's in sharp and he does well to get in there and finish it. And then gets a bit fortunate with the second goal, deflects off the head in the wall. And goals is probably something Hadji will want to add to his game because I think he only had one going into this game this season. So hopefully he can sort of for Rangers that he can add goals to his game and
Yeah,
because
because he is such a fantastic passer of the ball, and
yeah
yeah, I think he's a quality on the ball. He should have more goals than he does. The way he strikes it, the way he hits it, so it's good
yeah
for him.
definitely.
I just want to bring up another player who wasn't really involved in any of the goals, but another man of the match performance from Clinton Enciala. Just so cool on the ball. There was one that I think Suter lost the ball and it kind of comes to him in the air, and he kind of flicks it over a defender, takes it past another one, and plays it back. And it's just cool, just so cool on the ball. And I think I said this a couple of episodes ago, but I think it's becoming more conclusive. He's the best on the ball defender at the club. Well, centre back, I'd said Tavernier probably better on the ball than him. But yeah, best centre back. His range of passing is insane. Um, he's never been dispossessed, and so far in his Rangers appearances. And yeah, what was that thing as well? I can't remember the stat I read to you today about his. There was some sort of stat that he had 100% on. I'll try and find that. But yeah, Ethan, just get your thoughts on Clinton Enciala and he's sort of come through at Rangers.
Yeah, he's been a sort of I don't know what the saying I'm looking for is, so I'm not even going to try and say it, but he never got a chance in the first sort of portion of the season. Injuries have sort of opened it up for him. Once gave him a chance, and he's stepped into professional football, and he'll be thinking this life's easy because that's what he's made it at Rangers so far. Obviously, he's not maybe played in the most high pressure games, not in the Europa League squad, but obviously will be added for those last 16 games. But yeah, as you said, he looks like a really top talent. Really good on the ball, really composed. And yeah, I've not heard much about him, sort of from Rangers fans, which apart from raving about him, which usually for a centre back means they're doing very well. And yeah, I think Rangers have got a steal there for a free transfer. And yeah, he's been a brilliant bit of business. And yeah, I was just going to say about the third goal. Raskin wins another header in the box, which you really know you're pulling off miracles from set pieces of Raskin's winning headers
Well,
from
he
a
did
direct
the, he
corner.
did the same against Celtic, didn't he?
Yeah, I suppose. Uh, but yeah, and then it's a good finish from Suter, as you said. Great to have him back for Rangers and the national team, because he is Scotland's best central defender. Um, and then the penalty, I think it's one of those ones that annoys you because it's like he's not trying to foul him, but he does foul him, if you know what I mean. And it's a clear penalty. And Tavernier steps up, sends a miss the wrong way, and a solid win for Rangers. And they're in a really good spot this season.
Yeah,
At
this
this point in the season.
this isn't the stat I was thinking of, but this is some stats for NCR in his last three games against Ross County, Dundee United, and Aberdeen. 195 out of 218 accurate passes, 24 passes into the final third, one assist, eight clearances, 10 recoveries, 6 out of 8 ground duels won, 9 out of 17 aerial duels won. Maybe you could want him to be a bit better in the air, but those are some really good stats from the youngster. And like you said, Ethan, it looks like a bit of a steal. Right. So that's that for the sort of SPFL action for the weekend. Obviously, we've got a midweek game coming up, Celtic versus Dundee. I can only really see this going one way. Fairly simple Celtic win.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think Celtic will sort of, business as usual at home as Rangers have been doing this season. I can't really see Dundee going there and causing an upset. Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously Dundee have sort of got the maybe the headline between the two big clubs in Glasgow of deadline day with the signing of the pre-contract agreement of Lyle Cameron going to Rangers. He's obviously been linked to the Rangers for quite a while. I've been one of his biggest supporters from the start of the season. So yeah,
Yeah, I think
maybe,
that we'll just offer.
upset he's going to Rangers, but no, I think it's a great move for him,
Yeah,
and he's deserved it. Like McCowan has, they're not going to those clubs just to fill a Scottish player slot. That they're going there because they've earned it off merit, and it's good for the league that players like um, that are going to the big two, and
yeah,
Celtic and Rangers looking in that market.
definitely. You always like to see more Scottish players in those sides. So just we'll quickly cover the transfer window. Probably underwhelming for both the big sides. Celtic needed a striker. They didn't get one in. They brought in Jeffrey Schlupp as backup. Rangers obviously bringing in Rafael Fernandez for the centre back slots. But yeah, nothing really major there. St Johnston, obviously, we mentioned earlier, super active. Motherwell bringing in three goalkeepers. Aberdeen bringing in some attacking and defensive reinforcements yesterday on deadline day. Hearts bringing in Jack. Is it Jack Milne or James? I can never remember.
It's Harry Milne.
Harry Milne from
Yeah, Jack Milne's the one at Aberdeen.
Harry
It's
Milne
Harry Milne
from
from
Partick
Partick
Thistle.
Yes.
So yeah, I think those are maybe the headlines from deadline day. Ethan, just very quickly, I'm assuming you're underwhelmed with Celtic's business.
Yeah, definitely. I think Brendan Rodgers came out and said after Kyogo left that Celtic wanted a striker. They were going to get a striker. They never got a striker. And you just wonder what's going on. Why is there a striker not been signed? And yeah, Celtic are. Brendan Rodgers came out today and previewing tomorrow's match against Dundee. This is Tuesday as we're recording this. That Celtic are in a weaker place than when they started the window, and that would not be a controversial thing to say. Celtic have obviously offloaded a lot of players which they probably didn't need. They've obviously brought in Jota and Schlupp, but they've also lost Baye and Kyogo. So yeah, I think the signing of Jeffrey Schlupp is a good one. He fills that sort of gap for 6 months while waiting for that Kieran Tierney pre-contract agreement to come in the summer. But yeah, no striker is. It's really really disappointing. And we'll have to see how Adam Ida deals with the immense pressure that'll be on his shoulders. He seems to have hit form since Kyogo's left, so Celtic fans will be hoping he can keep that up Daizen Maeda can also obviously play through the middle, but I would rather he plays on the wing personally. But yeah, in terms of other sort of transfers for Celtic, I think the other sort of main one was the outgoing of Luis Palma to Olympiacos.
You can give
Maybe,
Jota the 7.
yeah, I think that's the main one behind that. A loan to buy. But yeah, in terms of the rest of the teams, I think they've all made sort of shrewd business. Aberdeen have brought in a lot of players. A lot of, maybe you could say, panic buys with the state they're in at the moment. Hearts have obviously signed well. We've seen their players in action so far. Kelly added a few players. St Mirren added a defender, as did Kilmarnock, as I just said. And St Johnstone, I think, might have had the best window because their players are making the most immediate impact and they
Yeah.
could help them survive.
They've got a couple more to make impacts. I'll just say quickly for Rangers, I'd say I'm a bit underwhelmed, but I wasn't expecting much. Patrick Stewart did say come out. We'd be signing one, maybe two. We got Lyle Cameron on a pre-contract, which I think is a fantastic signing. Fernandez made his debut against Ross County. We're yet to see more of him, a young player, so it's good to have that centre-back cover. And maybe when they signed him, they weren't counting on the emergence of how good Clinton Enciala would be. But, the only thing that I would have probably wanted from the window was a left winger. And we're a bit short in that position. Obviously, he wasn't great, but we've let Matondo go on loan. Cortez is injury prone. Egaman's playing out there right now, which isn't his best position. You can tell he's not scored in his last 3 or 4. And he's still been playing well, but he's just not, been getting involved the way he has. So, yeah, I would have liked a left winger, but yeah, a lot of outgoings for Rangers as well. So, aye, interesting window for Scotland. Deadline day wasn't the best. We were obviously working hard yesterday to try and get all the tweets out, but it was a bit boring at times. But yeah, I think that's it for today's episode. Thank you to everyone for watching and listening. Make sure to like and subscribe. Go check out our Twitter, give it a follow at the Dugout 2024. Thank you and goodbye.